At some point, without anyone announcing it, a decision was made on your behalf. Not maliciously. That's the complicated part. It was made with love, mostly. With the particular love that looks like certainty. The kind that says, I know what the world requires of you, and means it, and is sometimes even right. But love and authorship are different things. And for a long time, most of us don't know the difference. We just follow the blueprint. We assume it's ours because it was handed to us so early and so confidently that we never thought to check whose handwriting it was in. There's a version of this story that's universal. Every generation inherits a script from the one before it. But the African version has a specific texture that doesn't quite translate. It's not just about career or class or expectation in the abstract. It's more particular than that, more load-bearing. You don't just choose a profession here. You choose a position in a system that has been quietly depending on you before you arrived. The firstborn son carries something that has no official name, but enormous actual weight. The bright one in the family becomes a vessel for everything the family didn't get to finish. You are not just a person making choices, you are a continuation. And continuations don't get to start from scratch. So the blueprint isn't a suggestion, it's structural. Mine arrived in pieces, the way these things usually do. First, it was the subjects. Science, mathematics, the ones that led somewhere legible. I was good at other things, I knew that even then, but good at other things was not the same as good at something that counted. The things I was good at didn't have a clear answer to the question every African parent is really asking, which is, and then what will you do with that? So I set those things aside, not dramatically, just quietly, the way you set down something you're not sure you're allowed to carry. Then it was the course. Not the one I'd been circling in my own mind, the one that felt like mine in the way very few things did at that age. The other one, the one that made sense on paper. The one that, when I mentioned it at the dinner table, produced a particular kind of silence. Not disapproving exactly, just the silence of a thing being considered against other things. And then, a nod. And somehow, the nod settled it in a way that a direct instruction never could have. I enrolled. I did well enough. I told myself it was practical, maturity even. The word maturity does a lot of work in these situations. The strange thing about living inside someone else's blueprint is that it fits well enough that you don't notice immediately. It's not a bad life. The blueprint isn't a trap, not exactly. It's more like a house you didn't design, but have lived in long enough that you've stopped seeing the walls. You've arranged your furniture. You've made it feel like home. And then one day, something shifts. A conversation, a birthday, a moment alone on a drive somewhere. And you look up and notice the ceilings are lower than you'd like. Not unbearably low, just lower than you'd have chosen. And you think, when did I agree to this ceiling? The honest answer, for most of us, is that we never explicitly agreed. Agreement was never really requested. The blueprint came with a confidence that made questioning it feel like ingratitude. And ingratitude in this context is not a small thing. You understand what was sacrificed to hand you this. You understand that the person handing it to you genuinely believes it's the best thing they have to give. And they're not entirely wrong. The blueprint has value. It has gotten people places. It has kept families fed and funded and upright. But it was designed for a different person's destination. There's a particular kind of grief that comes with this realization. And it's a grief that's difficult to explain without sounding ungrateful, which is why most people don't explain it at all. You're not grieving a catastrophe, you're grieving a quiet thing. The version of yourself that might have existed if the first question asked of you had been what interests you, rather than what will you do with that. That person isn't entirely lost, but they're not entirely present either. They've been waiting in a room you haven't visited in a while. The good news, such as it is that blueprints can be renovated. Not demolished. That's rarely the answer. and it's rarely even necessary. The foundation is often solid. The location is usually right. But walls can be moved. Rooms can be reimagined. You can honor the structure and still make it yours. It just requires, first, the willingness to admit that it wasn't yet. I'm not sure when I started writing my own version. It didn't happen in a single moment. It was more gradual than that. A series of small, almost invisible decisions. Taking on work that felt true, even when it didn't fit the plan. Saying out loud for the first time the thing I'd actually wanted. Watching the response of the people around me and noticing that the disapproval I'd been afraid of was considerably quieter than I'd imagined. Most of the catastrophe, it turned out, had been theoretical. The blueprint is still there. I haven't thrown it out. Some of it still applies. But I've started writing in the margins. Slowly, a little messily, in handwriting that is unmistakably mine. That's where it begins, I think. Not with the grand gesture, not with the bonfire, just the margins.